Hello, welcome. Hello, Pablo. Hope everyone's doing alright. Turn this down to my ear. That's good. Good evening. Hope you're doing well. She is already skinny at this point. This is the part where she gets hungry. To be fair, she did just run away from a witch fight. Those are titties. Uh, well, now it's definitely not going to be that short. It's already at page 18. So it's probably going to be in the 30s. If I had to take a wild guess. So pretty much around the same as a Creamfield comic. Because I put like a lot of fucking exposition in the beginning of this. And then I always add in like some bonus stuff. So she'll probably get like, I don't know, maybe like 3 extra pieces of art. Those will be kind of random on what I decide for them to be. Probably just mess around, so I have like one of her being skinny, one of her being like fat, and then I don't know, maybe one with like a stuffed belly or something, or maybe something risque, like a mature pose or something. And fix this just a bit more. Yes, but right now we're at the part where she has the collar made her skinny, and now she's getting hungry. And so she's gonna try to behave and not ruin her new figure because she doesn't understand how the collar works yet. But she has bad habits, so she's going to stuff her face, but then, you know, freak out because she's like, no, I ruined my figure. But then the collar is going to kick in and just shrink her stomach. And she's going to think, oh, it doesn't matter what I do, the collar is going to keep me this way. Not realizing there are side effects to that. Or an asterisk. Going like, sure, you can do that, but so yeah, right now she's in the phase of cool. Now I'm hungry. Now it's just a matter of working through this. Hey Jet, happy Wednesday to you too. She was more on just like the chubby side. Like, not that fat. Like, I can show this. I'm not gonna show the comic pages, but I'll show what her character art looks like. She's an adopt. So this is her default. So, you know, she's like got the chubby cheeks, pretty thick arms, and definitely thick thighs, and a decent sized pooch belly. So yeah, she's on the chubby side. I need to... Did I ever post her artwork? Because it might have just been a Patreon thing. If not, then I'll... Or if I did only post it there, then I'll definitely post it publicly at some point. I need to do her bio. That's probably why I haven't done it. Yeah, I have not posted her her artwork. Why does it... I feel like some of these should be in different positions, whatever. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, I have not posted her artwork publicly, so yeah, I'll have to do that soon. A woman's muffin top is hot. Yeah, I can see that. Like, for me personally, it's a person-by-person thing. Like, the things I like don't apply to everybody. I like swap them around and cherry pick and be like, okay, this makes sense for this person. I know I'm weird that way. Be like, nah, that person can lose weight. Nah, that person can gain weight. Nah, this person's fine being chubby. Nah, this person's fine being blank. Insert kink here. I think there might be a thinner. Oh, you're thinking of the original art of her. Yeah, hold on. I can bring that up, but first I have to censor it. So let me blank the screen for, or well, not blank the screen, but let me blank this for a moment. So yeah, I know what you're talking about. Where are you? Caitlin, there you are. Just gotta censor these for a moment. Make sure it's on a different layer just in case. And including the background ones, because they're just as visible, which I didn't think about the last time I showed this, so I kind of lucked out on that. And you can't see that one either. Okay, so let me bring back the screen. Alright, so here's her original artwork that I got, because she's an adopted character. Oh yeah, her friend's gonna show up again. Everyone needs a friend that's trying to fatten everyone around them. I mean, though I fall into that category, I kind of don't have to because my friends do it on their own. And I just sit there and enjoy the show. They're like, oh my god, I shouldn't eat this. And I'm just sitting there like, I mean, you can order it if you want. And they're like, but it's expensive. I'm like, I'll pay for it. and so they order themselves a shit ton of food and then regret it afterwards. And I'm just sitting there with a grin on my face. I'm bad for myself. I'm too evil. But yeah, this is the original artwork for Caitlyn. And then I'll bring this one back up. Yes, this one. So yeah, the two versions. Some changes here and there. And like the only reason why Caitlyn even has like the choker thing as part of her storyline is because that was part of the original art. Because it had two versions of her, and then it had this of her with and without the choker. So I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And so that's why she has this storyline, is because it was originally part of the art. Pays for 30 burgers. I mean, if we're gonna share stories here, there was a time that I challenged my friend to eat 100 pieces of sushi, and they brought in the sushi on a big boat at I think it was a Yoshi Sushi's. And the first time I challenged her, she did not do it. She failed at 98, if I remember correctly. And then the second time I challenged her, she actually did it. And so I like bought her whatever the hell she wanted. I think she wanted like some movies or something like that. So yeah, I'm definitely a bad influence. Anyway, all right, back to work. No, do not save these. And that's among other challenges that I've done every once in a while. And they yell at me when they're like, I gained this much weight. And I'm like, well, I mean, I'm just saying. It's like, you didn't have to do all that. I mean, again, my friends kind of do that on their own. But I'm definitely not helpful in them trying to lose weight. Like one of my friend's sisters, she was like stupid things. She's okay. One of my friend's sisters was basically, think of True Ending Marcy, but like at the beginning of the last chapter, but for like maybe bigger boobs. Think of that. And that was my friend's sister's size. She's lost a bit of weight since then because I think she had like 2 kids, and then she doesn't splurge as much as she used to. But yeah, so a lot of my references with my art are some inspired by real life because it's just kind of there. So there's some real life inspiration. Not all of it though. Got her to do it twice and made her talk. Yeah. I never said I was good. Yeah, exactly. Like, let me put it this way. When one of my friends first met me, I think she said she was like 126 or something like that. And she is currently 150 with no help from me. Well, with help in terms of going upwards, yes. But you know, like I don't force it or anything. I'm just sitting there chilling. And then every once in a while, when they want to go out to eat or something like that, and they get all hesitant because they're like, "Oh my god, I don't know what to get." And I'm just like, "Why don't you just get both?" As I sit there with a grin on my face. Hello, Alex. I need to be your friend. I mean, hey, that's not weird. Trust me, if there's something that I would consider actually weird, I will let you know. But my bar is way too fucking high. So I'm guessing the more she's with the necklace, the more fat she feels. Yeah, basically the collar is the collar like builds up on everything she's doing. And there's technically a way to like avoid the penalties from removing the collar, but she doesn't know how to do it because she left without any more instructions from the witch that she got the collar from, and she didn't even buy the collar. She accidentally stole it. So there's that. Do any of these IRL friends know from? Yes, they all know my artwork. They are fully aware of what I'm into. And nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. They all do their bad habits. And I just push it along. I just add more fuel to the fire. And I regret nothing. That's fair, I just don't know. Yeah, that. Trust me, if there's a problem, I will let you know. And it won't be like, oh, you said that, I'm gonna have to ban you type of thing. You'd be like, hey, chill with whatever it is you bring up. Like, if I have an issue, then I'll say something. I say, take all you can get. Yeah. I'm basically just living in the moment in situations like this. Like, there was a time where my friend, well, there's been several times where I've gotten free food. And it just kind of happens. Like, my friend wanted Taco Bell, we went to Taco Bell, and she ordered the stuff, but she originally ordered online, and she canceled it, and so she asked them, hey, if I cancel, you know, it's not going to pull from my bank account and stuff like that, and I'm like, no, you're fine if you cancel and all that, and she's like, okay, so we order the food, they give us the food, and then the lady says, like, all right, have a good day, and my friend is sitting there holding her card, going like, but I didn't pay, and I'm sitting next to her in the car going, shut up and drive, and she's like, but I didn't shut up and drive, and so we drive away, and she's all like panicking and stuff like that. I'm just sitting there laughing, and she's like, I can't believe you made me do that, and I was like, what? They gave you the food, and now we leave. Any of the fans or support? No, or they like my artwork. None of them like financially support or anything like that. Just one of them sees it every once in a while, and then the others only know of it by proxy. So it's more of like I talk about it every once in a while if it gets brought up. I don't usually bring it up on my own. They usually ask me like, hey, you still drawing your stuff? And I'll be like, yep. And then they ask me, you know, how things are going and stuff like that. Nothing major. And your arms are way too fucking thin. Bring them out a bit. There we go. That's more natural. But yes, they are aware of some of my interests. Not all of them, though. Good lord, if they knew everything. Like, there's a reason I have like 6 hard drives. Well, one of them is just for music, and that one's like I think a terabyte, because I kept swapping drives now, so now it's on a terabyte drive for some reason. And I didn't even notice until like a month or 2 ago. I was like, oh, this drive is on a terabyte drive. Weird. But like the other ones are bigger than it, so it makes sense of why that happened. But and like I got me a cheap laptop strictly just to show artwork or watch movies or something on it. Like, I'm not gonna let it touch the internet. I'm gonna keep it as a virgin. Because it's like you have literally one job, technically 2, but you have one job, and we're keeping it that way. Standard rescue dog. Where's my keg? Speaking of way, I had the women's stuff the other day, and at 261. Damn. Is that good, bad? I mean, it's more about you personally. It's like, what do you want? Not bad, though. I mean, you're talking to the wrong person in terms of, like, good advice for things like that. So, I'm bad. I will literally tell you the wrong things. I will say the wrong things to you for personal interests. I have one laptop for gaming, the other for other stuff. Yeah, that makes sense. It does sound like something here. Oh yeah, Becky would still like. That would be fun to have like a character who runs around to like help survivors or people who are lost with like a keg or whatever, and then Becky steals it for some reason or whatever. Whatever comes up. A lot of it was an accident, but I'm not against it. Hey, as long as you're happy and as long as you're like, you know, taking measures to make sure you're not in like a critical health situation, then, you know, more power to you. Like, obviously you never want to get to the point where it becomes a problem, but if it is if it starts to become a problem, then definitely, you know, do what you got to do to take care of yourself. And the same goes for like, you know, expenses, because like I've had followers be like, hey, I'm sorry, I can't support the Patreon for now, medical stuff or like an emergency came up, and I'm like, dude, take care of yourself first. My artwork and all that is a luxury. Take care of yourself. If you're able to come back, cool. If not, that's perfectly fine. Yeah, always take care of yourself first. Like as much as I can help it, I will be here until the end of time. And her purse strap would be behind her hair. Well, just gotta roll that dice and see what happens if you ever come across somebody who will do that. It'll just boil. I mean, at a certain point, it'll boil down to like two things. One, if you awaken something in somebody who does that for the first time, like, you know, feed somebody and they put on weight or whatever. So, figure out what happens if you awaken something. And two, how much can you handle? Because that's the actual challenge. But yes, a majority of my friends are women, and so that's why I'm around various body types. That's why Nano is dummy thick. Anyway, well, she was dummy thick on her own. She's pear-shaped. Can't afford Patreon this month. Spend it all on gachapos. Unfortunately, that's a real problem for people. Hell, if anything, watch what's his name? Let me look. Just watch a few videos by Caleb Hammer, and that shit will scare the finances right back into you. If you're having that kind of problem. Cook fact fetish wise. Oh yeah, I mean there are people out there. Just saying. I mean, there was like fucking TV specials and interviews on people that do that, so they definitely exist. Give her a little bit of fur over here, just because it's just so close. But yeah, overall, it just boils down to like personal responsibility and stuff like that. Just understand your situation and know your limits. But yeah, I have very few guy friends, so not hard for me to see this, to get life inspiration. Like shit, life experience alone and the types of character stories I could write from the shit that I've had to go through / experience / I don't know, volunteer in some cases. I don't know. I'm just yammering at this point. But yeah, some stuff in the comics are based on real life events, so try to figure that out. I'm lucky I have a good enough gacha luck. Yeah, same here. Like with Arknights, I've never had to spend money to get characters. Like the only time I spent money was to max out Cowsit, and and even then that wasn't even that much. And she was like literally the only character that I wanted to max out. Everybody else is just like, if I get you, I get you. And then in Brown Dust 2, you literally don't have to spend money to get characters in that game. You could just play the game. If you're spending money, that's because you're trying to win PvP. Or yeah, PvP. Yeah, I grew up on video games. Got all this, like, played all the Sonic games, Mario games, Zelda games. There's still a few games I haven't even played, like I bought, but I haven't played them since I ordered them because I've been busy with drawing. So I need to make a day where I just actually sit down and play some games. None of them I can play on stream though, because I don't have a what are they called? Capture card. But I do have PC games, so if I ever feel like playing those, then I can do those on stream, like, you know, play Yu-Gi-Oh! Or play DuckTales, which shit, I haven't played DuckTales since the last time I streamed it. So there's that. Or, like, you know, any of the gacha games that I play. But yeah, I mean, I definitely play games. I don't play console games as much as I would like, but I do play the gacha ones for like a couple hours, and then I go back to drawing. I primarily played, like, I've never played Pokemon. Like, I have cards, but I've never played the game because I mostly just got the cards for the artwork. My brother I played my brother like once or twice, but you know, just never kept up with that. But my brother did. He like went to like tournaments and stuff like that for a while. I primarily played Yu-Gi-Oh, but I was just more of a casual player. My brother took that seriously for a little bit and went to tournaments. Slowly went from Yu-Gi-Oh to Magic. I like Magic more at this point because it just like, even though there are ways you can break that game too, it just feels a little bit more fair, personally, compared to Yu-Gi-Oh. Especially since in Yu-Gi-Oh you can just lose turn 1 before you even really get to do anything, and that just ruins the game. And I know some people say like, no, that's the fun part, and it's like, sure, it's fun, but after a certain point you're going to stress the game to the point where no one wants to play, and then then the game's gonna kill itself. So yeah, it's fun to prevent the player 2 from playing the game, but then when nobody wants to play the game because they can't play the game, then you're going to be sitting there wondering why the game died. I think I've heard of Limbus Comp, but that might have been through Rule 34, so I don't think I actually seen the game. When I play Magic, I prefer Commander. Yeah, I like Commander as well. I play Commander. Excited to see Boot doing another NFL 4 playoffs. Oh yeah, I remember seeing those. Nah, not much of a sports person. Like, I'll watch it. I don't have a problem watching it and understanding the game and all that. I just don't do it on my own. So, like, if it's there and it's entertaining enough, then I'll watch. But on my own, no, I don't seek it. I think the last time I actively went out of my way to watch the sport was the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson thing, which, Jesus Christ, that fight was a fucking joke. Because even the one with Mayweather, that one wasn't even like an official match. It was just, okay, here's the match. But with Mike Tyson, they said like, okay, this is an official match, and I'm sitting there going like, why? Why on earth would you make that an official match? Because it means nothing now. Because like, even if Jake Paul says like, "Oh, I beat Mike Tyson," everyone's gonna look at him going like, "Dude, he's like almost 60 or whatever." Either he was like almost 60 or almost 50. One of the two. I forget which. Oh, let's just look this up right now. How old is Mike Tyson? He is 58, yeah, so he's almost fucking 60. And then he had like surgery like within the same year that he had the fight. So he's already like lost other prep time. So it just made no sense. It was like, why? What was the point? It means nothing. It's like, oh, you beat Mike Tyson, but you beat him when he's old. Wow. Congratulations. It's like, what? That's like being happy you beat an old person in a running contest. It's like, what the hell? And granted, some old people can still run pretty damn fast, but still, like, it doesn't sound good when you say it out loud. Yeah, the whole fight was dog shit. And then, like, what was it? Like, the fight itself was only like 8 minutes or something like that. So it was like all that build up, all that nonsense for like 8 minutes. Oh, I'll have to check out that pic later. But yeah, I remember the last NFL 4 thing. That was fun. I mean, he was getting paid no matter what, because like even Mayweather got paid, but like Mayweather still like tried or whatever. But like in Mike Tyson's case, it's like, he had a lot of complications to begin with, even before the fight. So that just made even less sense to fight him in the first place. But yeah, like if the case was they're gonna tell him like, hey, you're gonna be in this fight, most likely you're gonna lose. Are you okay with that? And it's gonna be official. Are you okay with that? I guess better pray that they paid him enough. Shit. Because if that was the case, I would never even accepted the fight. Fuck that. It's like, why would I ruin my record just for some random asshole to claim that he's beaten one of the top fighters, even though one of the top fighters was retired already? Like, he was already retired. What the fuck was the point? Two things I hate football for. Fine, fine. We'll give ballerinas and weight gain. There you go. We'll do a comic of a ballerina who's doing great and then suddenly gets addicted to, I don't know, big burgers or pie. And then just watch her slowly ruin her career as she gets fatter and fatter. Done. American Hand-Egg. That's funny that Jake Paul only fights other retired. Yeah. It's literally just he's doing it for the names. It has nothing to do with whether or not they can actually win or whatever. It just has to do with the names of the people. And if he actually gets a win and the win is considered official, then, you know, he's just gonna ham it up and be like, oh yeah, I beat the greatest fighter, blah 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 blah. And then everyone's gonna look at him going like, dude, you fought an old man. What are you even celebrating for? It's like he's going for optics, but everyone's looking at him going like, this is the stupidest thing we ever heard. But, you know, it's unfortunate. Like that's just Jake Paul and Logan Paul's whole thing at this point. They're just professional assholes. Basically the best way I can put it. I mean, like, Logan couldn't even celebrate his daughter's birth without promoting his food brand stuff. So that shows you how much he gives a shit about people in general. But whatever. I'm just confused on why anybody would buy so much of that stuff in the first place. I was like, it's like, oh, it was Logan Paul's thing. I was like, and? It's like, I'm surprised people give a shit about Logan Paul. I don't see anything interesting about him whatsoever. And like, I think he started off as like a Disney person, and that's probably why. But even then, I'm just sitting there going like, I don't see it. I don't understand why people are flocking to him. It makes zero sense. Like, there are other, you know, popular people that make a little bit more sense than he does. But I don't know. There's probably something I'm missing that I don't know about. Lol cow. I refuse to drink Prime. Dude, I see Prime at, like, Dollar Trees and stuff like that in 99-cent stores. They're trying to get rid of the shit. I'm just more confused over why people flock to him at this time. Like, I was confused about it back when it happened, back in like 2017, which I think was when the whole Suicide Forest thing happened. But I was already confused. I was like, what? People are into this guy? I'm like, why? I was like, what does he do? And as far as I'm aware, he doesn't do anything. As far as I'm aware, they just shitpost or whatever and make edgy video. Well, I can't even say edgy because they don't even do anything. They're just loud. And then, of course, you know, causing problems for their neighbors when they were doing all those house parties. Yeah. But like, okay, like I can understand. Here's the thing when people say like they're promoting the kids and stuff like that. Like, I understand like a bunch of kids will watch the videos and stuff like that, and that's where the majority of funding comes from, because you know, watch time and clicks and shit like that. Like, I get that part. But then when it says like you're trying to sell to kids, all it's gonna boil down to is having a parent look at all that and be like, fuck no, and then don't help them buy the shit. Because kids inherently don't have money. Like, they just don't. So unless a parent is just really retarded and gives their kid like their fucking credit card or some shit, I don't know how else they're gonna make the money other than, you know, the idiotic videos that some people make. And granted, like, you know, you're like right now with YouTube, one of the biggest problems is having those types of videos where it's based off of children's cartoons, but then there's like a lot of adult shit in them, when the original cartoons don't have that. But I mean, that's its own niche and category and whatever the hell goes on with that. And personally, to me, it's like, look, if the parents aren't willing to pay attention to the shit that their kids watch, then I don't know what else to tell you. South Park Special. Yeah, I remember that. I think the pauses got really big on Vine, and then transitioned to YouTube. Yeah, I think that was the situation. They don't really care. Yeah, they don't give a shit. Principles and character meaning nothing to people these days. Yeah, it's all boiled down to content, because like it's gotten to the point where people will literally not do anything without filming it, because they don't know if it'll like pop off or something. And even if it does pop off, what do you do after that? Because if you got popular for something really, really, really dumb, and like it was like a one-time, one-trick thing, like the Haktua girl, it's like, okay, so somehow you got stupidly popular for making for basically making a sex comment, and then you tried to make a career off of that. Like, all it was a blowjob comment. It wasn't even that interesting. And yet somehow tried to make a fucking business out of it. And then not only did she attempt to do that, but then she tried to like push it all into crypto. And all that shit sounded like it was going to become a scam. So I'm just sitting there going like, I don't understand what the goal here was. Or I mean, obviously the goal is money, but I don't understand how you thought you could get there with that. I mean, Annoying Orange made more sense. And Annoying Orange ended up with a TV show, so that fucking was its own arc. There's a lot of iron in the brine. But yeah. But I mean, like, you know, if an opportunity rises, you know, take your shot. Like, I'm never gonna sit there and go like, yo, you're only popular because of I don't know, let's just say you're only popular because you were folding paper. And then tell you not to try to make something big out of that. Like, of course, if you think you can do it, then do it. But then you also have to understand that if your popularity suddenly plummets, there's a reason behind that. And then you also have to acknowledge that a lot of stuff is just luck. Like, hell, the only reason why I have any following at all is because people were pissed off at FAF. I mean, I'm not gonna kid myself, I know exactly that's the reason. I am still currently a nobody. Well, okay. So I was already drawing my own shit. Like I was already doing like Low Gates and Buckle and all that. But the only reason why IHHAT took off was because people were pissed off at FAF for not continuing or for not posting Petty publicly, and that's how. Because originally IHHAT was gonna have different characters. It wasn't even gonna have Marcy and Skylar. But like shortly before I decided to work on that, that was when I came across the Hetty comic. And the Hetty comic was on a site where people were posting pages. I don't know if they were on if they were from like a subscription thing or whatever, but they were just being posted. Like the pages themselves were being posted because I didn't know the situation at the time. And after like chapter 4, that's when Faf was, hammering down on people posting his shit. And me at the time, I didn't know that any of that was going on. All I knew was the person wasn't posting his comic anymore, and I was willing to support him. I was like, oh yeah, I'll support the comic, because that's when Patreon was starting up as a thing. And since I couldn't support him, since I couldn't read his comic anymore, I just said, fuck it, I'll make my own. And now we have Marcy and Skylar and everything that's come since then. Yeah, so it was literally just the right place at the right time. And then to kind of boost off of that, when I did start IHHAT, at a certain point people were posting it on U18chan. And I was super cool with that because I was like, yeah, do that, because that's just gonna get my stuff out there more. And so people were posting it, and then after a certain point, I just started posting it on the site because I was like, fuck it, if it's already here, I might as well just post it myself. I mean, obviously, I wasn't posting like pages that were ahead of everybody else. I just maintained the whole public posting thing, and then there you go. Like I understood the benefits of leaks. It's not always a good thing because, if people leak too much of your stuff too often and it offsets how much you make from making your content and all that, then all it's going to do is make you draw it less. So like, for example, if I drew a bunch of Fat Marcy and stuff like that and more weight gain stuff, but then all of it gets leaked and I'm not making enough money to support drawing the content, then all you're doing is killing the content. So there has to be a balance to it. So even though I'm fine with leaks, I need the leakers to understand what happens if they do it too often. And now we have a duck with big. Yeah, exactly. So because of Faf not posting his comic, we have Becky. Although Becky technically wasn't because of that. I made Becky because I just wanted to make some negative character to kind of vent my frustrations with certain things. And so I made her for that. But maybe there's a possibility that she would not have been made if all that didn't happen. So there's a possibility to that. I'm more warm to the idea of Marcy versus Hetty, but if money is going to be involved for Awakening, I reckon you need two things. Well, Faf has already said I could draw the character as long as I didn't say it was like official. So he had already given me permission for that. You can't stop piracy, but you can provide a better... Yeah, exactly. It's just like the other advice. If there's a niche, be the best at it. Like, I know I'm not the best at it. I don't even know who is the best weight gain artist now that I think about it. But I'm pretty sure I follow a lot of the good ones. But but yeah, I just understand how this stuff works. FAF is a little bit too obsessed with preventing people from entering his air quotes community. Because like even with his subscribe star, I think this got posted, or well yeah, because I explained it at one point. But basically, the way FAF was organizing his subscribe star was that he's basically punishing people who didn't know him 10 years ago, or whenever he started Hetty, which is at least 10 years ago. So it's like, oh, or not Hetty, but like, you know, any of his work 10 years ago. Like if you like the comic that he started, that's on Subscribestar, and you're, you know, subscribing to him to read that. If you didn't subscribe to him however many years ago, it's going to take you that long to catch up to where the comic is currently now. So like, let's just say the comic started 4 years ago. You would have to wait exactly 4 years to catch up to where it is today. Re-upping Fav's consent. Yeah, if I do decide to do it, I'll ask him again just to be sure. And then if it's obviously going to be something involving money, I'll probably ask him that too and be like, alright, I mean, people draw fan art, but you know, better to ask than not. Big Love Alicia is good, and Gil Panda is good. I follow both of them. Migration to Twitter. But yeah, like, and then with FAF shifting to animation, it's like, I'm surprised that the followers he have this much patience. I know I have a shit ton of patience, so stuff like that doesn't phase me too hard unless it just boils down to something really fucking stupid. Like if I wait long enough and then the thing comes out and then the thing is just nothing but broken promises and just an overall bad idea, then I'm done. I was like, all right, you had your chance, it's over, I'm done with you, I'll go elsewhere to something that knows what the fuck they're doing. And then, but yeah, like, cause like the comic, or the, well, I guess it was still a comic, the comic he was doing, he like stopped it, and now it's getting, I think this year is going to be 2 years now. But he stopped it because he wants to do animation. I'm sitting there going like, why didn't you do this for a different project? Why would you stop this project just to shift it over to something you're not even ready? And granted, like he like hired people and they're like trying to learn the programs, and he keeps saying that they're learning new shit or there's progress, but he never shows any like actual progress. And the one time he did, it had nothing to do with the project itself. It was like, oh, here's the environment. I'm like, okay, but are we going to see this? Because if you're making things and we're not going to see, then you're just wasting time and money. To write up a disclaimer that this isn't a collaboration, that FAF isn't involved in Drive, this doesn't signal any revival of Hetty. Yeah. Both those guys. Yeah, pretty much. It pretty much just boils down to if I made it like a comic, like a short comic of Marcy and Hetty meeting each other in some like bizarre alternate universe thing, or just make it like a regular art set where it's like six drawings. So it just boils down to which that I want to go with. But yeah, like Faf's stuff could be way more successful if he just wasn't so hell-bent on the piracy thing. Like, I get it, protect your work when you can, or when you need to, but the way he's doing it is literally screwing himself over. And like, he's trying to say like, oh, you know, he's gonna try to open up to get newer people, and I'm like, how are newer people going to do this, or going to show up if you're punishing them for being new? And then it's gonna get even worse if they decide to post any of his artwork anywhere, and he becomes aware of it, because if he decides to ban them or whatever, then they're just gonna do word of mouth, and it's just gonna get worse. Or, you know, discuss what's happening via word of mouth, and it's gonna get worse over time. Would drop some serious bucks for the kitty to dominate. And then, like, the other thing is, because like, he wants to get new people, but he's punishing them for being new. So then the other part of his idea was like, oh no, here that's what I wanted to say. So like a few years ago, there was a thing he did where you could pay to catch up to where one of his comics was currently, and that was a good idea because he made it like a flat. I think he made it like $25 to get like over like 100 page update or something like that. It was a good idea, and I literally told him, I was like, hey, if you did this with Hetty, where you just ask people to pay to catch up or pay to have access to the pages, then you're fine. There's no problem here. But for whatever fucking reason, he's just super against it. And for the other comic where he did allow people to pay to catch up, he did it the one time. And it was like at least, I don't know, at least 2-3 years ago that he did this, maybe longer. And I don't get it. Because I'm like, okay, you had a really good idea. It made the most sense. It's actually a great idea. Do it again, or just have that be an option. Or like if someone, or like say like the option's available, and then if somebody asks you, you know, find out how many pages they're behind or whatever the case may be, and then they just pay the difference, or, you know, however you work it out. Like, just give them the option to do it. And he never did it again. What I don't understand is how Faf is such a stranglehold over his fans, and that there's that there's so few leaks. Either A Club, yeah, either A Club is super anal about their support or something like that, or I mean, I have to imagine that he must be getting really good support, or else he wouldn't do it. Like, I would love to know if this method is actually helping, because I can't imagine that this is a good idea, or if people are like keeping it as like a personal thing where it's like, oh, only we can read Hetty until Hetty's over, and then once it's over, whoever has the biggest balls in the group decides to leak everything. Because it's over. Like, what's the point? You might as well just leak it. It's like, oh, he's gonna ban me, but I already have all the comic pages. There you go. So I don't understand what the point is at that point. It's like, dude, you would have had a bigger following already. People would have supported it. And like, the only reason why he got pissy about Patreon was the whole. I think it was the whole. It had to do with the backers and stuff. It's been a while. I'll have to read up on it, because I think he like had a journal about it, but he had like a no, I think he's like, or yeah, because I think it had to do with like finances and stuff like that. But then he like had issues with Fur Infinity and I think it had to do with like like people leaking his stuff or whatever. Because I know he was like he was like bitching about Patreon and all that. Anyway, whole point is he could be so much further along if he would literally just drop the whole piracy thing. That's the main point. It's like I don't understand his reasoning behind it because like I get it in terms of like protecting your work, but not by alienating future people. Because again, that would be like me preventing any new person from reading IHHAT after like chapter 3 of Marcy and them and all that. They'd be like, "Oh, I really like your comic. I want to support it." I'd be like, "No." "Oh, are you gonna post the pages publicly at some point?" "No." "Huh." And then they just leave, and then I'm gonna sit there and be mad that I don't have followers or some shit. It's like, or that my followers aren't, or I'm not getting more followers. It's like, well, of course not. I'm denying them the ability to enjoy my work. Well, the biggest thing is that he's like slowly not drawing his artwork anymore because he's leaning towards 3D animation. Well, 3D first and then 3D animation, because Vor Party is in 3D, but now he's shifting that into animation mid-comic. So like the comic's not even over, and they're in the middle of an event right now. Like they're in the middle of a situation or narrative, and he's dropped it for over a year to pursue animation. It makes zero sense. That's like if I was drawing. That's like if I did the whole. That's like if I got to the scene where Marcy and Skylar go to the sushi restaurant, and right before they go and sit down and eat their food, I stopped drawing the comic for 2 years because I want to turn it into a 3D animation. And then not only do I tell you guys that, but then like don't show any progress or hardly any progress of the project for 2 years. And then just keep saying that, oh, it's going well, or oh, something happened and we have to redo something, because he's constantly brought that up so many times that at this point I'm just thinking they're just fucking around. Because it could be the whole Yandere Simulator thing, where you pretend that you're working on it, and then you keep saying like, oh, there's like some drawbacks, or oh, something happened, or have to relearn this, or have to change software, whatever bullshit, just so you can milk the amount of money you're getting at all for however long you can, and then just slowly drip feed any actual progress, assuming there even is any. Yeah, exactly. And again, Faf does good art. Like, I'm not even going to deny that. That's literally what got me into reading Eddie. I thought the artwork was great, and the premise made sense, and the premise was good. I was enjoying it. And then he just had a fucking mental breakdown or some shit. He just threw it all away, and I don't get it. I don't understand. And then he's even thinking about doing stuff on AI because he thinks that all people care about is just the weight gain stuff. And I'm sitting there telling him, I was like, sure, but the reason, like, I even told him, like, I can't speak for everybody, but the reason why I showed up at all was because I liked his artwork. And if he's not drawing his own stuff or making his own stuff, then why am I there? I can find AI artwork anywhere. That's not hard because people just drop that shit like it's fucking, I don't even know, like pennies and just like it's easy. It's cheap junk food. That's all AI art is. It's cheap. It means nothing because you know it's AI, so you don't have any attachment to it. It's literally just eye candy. Yeah, I straight up told him, like, people are here for your art. If you're not making your art, then why are we here? But he's like, he thinks that quantity means more than the quality, or like I mean, like, that's not 100% true, because obviously he wants the 3D stuff to look good and all that, but he's missing the point. And so he's like completely abandoning his drawing stuff just so he can do the 3D stuff. And now he's abandoning the 3D stuff so he can do the 3D animation stuff. But with the 3D animation stuff, he started literally from scratch by the sound of it. And it's been 2 years, and aside from like the short little demo that he put out, there's been nothing else. And even that demo wasn't even worth it. And granted, you can get better at it over time, but he picked the worst time to do it. It's like, you don't do all this mid project. That's like watching a movie and then suddenly the movie cuts off and says, "Hey, come back in 2 years to get the other half of the movie." It's like if someone was talking to you, it's like you're watching a conversation of a movie and then it just stops. It's like, why? Why would you do this? But that's, Jesus Christ, I've been ranting about this for like an hour. Has it seriously been an hour? I am so sorry. No, you're good. I don't know. I just, stuff like this just baffles me. It's like when people. It's like when the simplest thing you have to do to be successful is just do the thing that made you successful. In terms of like, you know, like an actual creation and stuff like that. And then for whatever reason, the people just don't want to make it, or they make choices to make it worse. Like with Overwatch, with the whole becoming Overwatch 2 thing, it's like, that was 100% unnecessary. Just make new characters, make a fun narrative, and you're good. It's not that complicated. And like, I understand the whole like DEI stuff, but again, even with the DEI stuff, it's like, guys, you were already diverse. You're already making diverse characters and stuff like that. There was no need for any of this. And then like, most creators are already diverse. They always like adding in exotic characters and stuff like that. So it's not even like diversity was even a problem to begin with. It's just dumbass people tricked other people into thinking there was a problem when there wasn't. And no one talks about Overwatch 2. Exactly. He sees being a digital content creator as a conventional business and rather than adapt to his reasoning. Yeah. Still waiting on those books. Yeah, exactly. Remember when being diverse meant making interesting characters. But like, all that happened naturally. Like, you didn't have to tell somebody, "Hey, we should make a movie about, I don't know, a Mexican woman who has a cybernetic arm." No, you didn't have to tell people to do that. People just did it because they thought it was cool. I mean, imagine if Metroid came out as a movie back in the 90s. That shit would have been, or even the 80s. That shit would have been amazing. As like, just like a random sci-fi movie where you see like a fucking cybernetic bounty hunter kicking so much ass, and then at the very end of the movie, you find out that the bounty hunter has been a hot chick this entire fucking time. It's like, holy shit! Not only did we see a badass bounty hunter, but it's a hot chick. Like, there you go. It's like, it's a sexy, powerful woman, and you didn't have to be told that. It was just there. Like it worked out for Nintendo when they made the character. I can't see why anybody else would have any issues doing it or doing something similar. Nobody told them to do it, they just did it. Hydrate, yeah, I know I need to. Hold on, let me just get another song going. Drink some water, goddamn. But yeah, I mean, that's my frustrations with like a lot of good television shows or good series that get fucked over because of stupid ass decisions like that. Like with Teen Titans, it's just like, hey, we got all the original actors back to work to be part of a cartoon. Why don't we just make a continuation of Teen Titans? And they're like, nah, we're just gonna make Teen Titans Go. And everyone's like, what the fuck? And then even though they say like, oh, Teen Titans Go is their most successful cartoon, it's like, yeah, no shit, because there were times where they literally went 2 weeks of nothing but 24-hour Teen Titans aside from the Adult Swim stuff. It was just nothing but Teen Titans. So of course it was the most. It became very popular. It was all that was there. That's not an accomplishment. And then the fact that Teen Titans Go just doesn't do anything, and they even acknowledge that it doesn't do anything. It's just as bad as the newer Star Wars movies, where it's like, hey, you have Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, and Mark Hamill. Let's put them in the movie. Let's put them all in a scene together. Nope, doesn't fucking happen. And then unfortunately, Leia passes away in real life. So it's just like, wow, the one time we had a chance and you fucked it up. How did you even do that? How would anybody do that? Or anybody who is an actual fan of the series? Because the people making the series aren't fans. Or at least not the people who are in charge aren't fans. Because if they were, they wouldn't have fucked that up. And the sad part is everybody knows fans make the shit better, but unfortunately they have to listen to people who aren't fans. And that just fucks everything up. And the fact that they screwed over Finn in those movies, it's like, man, you had the best fucking start for a character, and then you fucked it. And I remember seeing the first what was the seventh movie, Force Awakens or some shit, or god damn, I can't even remember the names anymore because it's been that fun. I've just been so disconnected from it. Star Wars Episode 7. Which one was that one? Yeah, Force Awakens. I was right. So yeah, it's like, I remember watching The Force Awakens, and it gets to the part where Rey is, held captive, and she ends up, using the, what is it called? The mind manipulation. And I'm sitting there going like, how the hell did she just do that without any training or whatever? And I straight up called her a Mary Sue, like right there and then. And one of my friends was like, she's not a Mary Sue. He's like, dude, she has zero practice and was able to manipulate somebody with force powers. What do you mean she's not a Mary Sue? And then sure enough, she ended up being a Mary Sue. I could spam the Hydra button like 40 times. Liquid inflation. Oh, stretch. Sorry, didn't see that. But yeah, I don't know. I know I shouldn't care about any of this stuff because I have no control over it. It's all about businesses wanting to make money anyway. Like, I get it. It's just one of those things where I'm just baffled by when series get canceled or don't do well, and I'm sitting there going like, I mean, they could have did well if you just didn't fuck it up in this particular way. Or if you didn't have your head so far up your ass that you had to destroy something that was good. Like what happened with Ruby. And to be fair with Ruby, you know, the creator passed away. There wasn't really anything they could do about that. But in terms of the writing, it's like, who the hell is writing this shit? Because I mean, the biggest sign of their writing being just total ass was the fight with Crow and Clover and what's his name, the Scorpion dude. Like that was the worst episode, personally. It's like, hey, why are we helping the criminal fight an officer? What was the plan here? It made zero sense. It's like, hey, I'm gonna help a serial killer. And granted, Clover didn't understand the situation with Crow, sure, but Crow could have explained that to Clover. Like, he had the ability to do so, and he could have did it at any time. Like, even if he was, like, you know, arrested or whatever, he could still talk. Tyrion, that was his fucking name. But Tyrion, it made no sense to help him. Tyrion's a fucking serial killer. What are you doing? I will say the first 4 volumes of Ruby were great. After that, it was shit. Or it had its moments of being decent or cool in terms of like creature fights and shit like that, but that was it. After that, it just became shit. Like the whole, Yang and Blake shipping thing. That made no sense because there was no romance in the beginning. They just put them together just because. It made no goddamn sense. And like people were like all happy about it. I was like, what are you happy for? There was nothing here. Like, I'm not against the idea, but when the idea doesn't make sense, then you don't do it. And like the other characters were talking as if that was like a constant thing in the show. I was like, no, it wasn't. This is like literally your only proof that this even existed. And it was that one episode where they finally kissed, and I was like when it happened, I felt nothing because I was like, none of this was earned. They had no actual romance, and then when they did try to build up on it, it was during a situation that didn't make sense because it was like, hey, Ruby's missing and probably dead. What are your thoughts on that, Yang? And she's like, do you think Blake hates me? I'm like, the fuck is wrong with you? Your sister might be dead. The fuck? Why? What the fuck are you thinking about? I don't know. I'm not a writer, so I'm clearly just talking about my own personal thoughts on this. But that's just how I interpreted the situation. I just thought it was all nonsense and it just became stupid. And let's shrink down your cheek a bit. It's a little too wide on that. But yeah, just stuff like that just annoys me, where it's like, man, we could have really had something awesome, and then something just had to fuck it. And the sad part is, like, stuff like anime has been suffering from situations like this quite a bit. Where it's like, hey, here's this cool animation, and it's going to take us another 2 years to finish it for whatever reason. When back in the day, you just had the episodes pretty much out. Or if they had to do a filler of some sort, you know, just to keep the lights on, then sure. But, I mean, personally, fillers never made sense to me, because it's like, if you're spending time making the filler, that could have been time making the canon stuff. But granted, if you're already passing up the manga, then, you know, there's nothing more you can do. You just have to make shit up out of a certain thing. So that makes sense. Well, I don't know. I feel there's probably like a better answer to that. Like, you probably focus on the side characters more in fillers rather than making the main character do something. In fact, I think that would make it better if you focus more on the side characters for fillers. I'm not a writer when you've been writing comics for years. I mean, I'm technically not a writer. I don't write anything other than, I mean, like, I make the comics, but I don't, like, plan it out in, like, writing or anything. I just wing it and have it all in my head. And then just go with the flow of what I've been thinking. It's like, oh, I really want this to happen. Okay, how am I going to make it happen? And I just sit there thinking for, like, days and days and days, or however long I'm thinking about it, and then eventually try to draw it. I'm just more active about it because, I don't know, you know, it's something I'm passionate about. Like, if I was asked to write, I don't know, Sonic or something, and depending on where it was at a certain point in time, I don't know, I'd probably sit there trying to figure all that out too. Of course, with Sonic, I'd probably reread, like, everything just to make sure I'm on the same page. I was like, all right, what happened here? Metal Sonic freaked the fuck out. Okay, let's figure that out. What, we got new characters? Okay, who are they? Okay, what do they do? Okay, cool. What? Vectors into vanilla? Okay, are we gonna go anywhere with that? Because you know people will love that, right? And like Sega's whole thing is like they don't want to make anything official. I was like, no, that's the stupidest thing you could ever say. We make this shit official. Okay, dealing with the Ken Bender shit. All right, I understand. What characters do we still have from all that bullshit? We have these characters. All right, let's use them. Why are we not using the Freedom Fighters? They are literally one of the most popular fucking characters ever. People still draw Sally and Bunny. Use them. They are literally Sally and Bunny are like easy ways to get people into Sonic or to buy more Sonic shit. Use them. I don't know why Japanese companies have this weird stigma of using shit that worked in the past. They always feel like, oh, we don't want to, you know, you look to the past for look to old things or whatever. And it's like, no, that's how you got there. Use it. That'd be like if Mario didn't want to jump anymore because it was good in the past, but they want to do something new, so they don't want him to jump. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Top Chop shoot shit and maybe sometime art occasionally. Sorry, I'm trying. I'm drawing still. I'd argue that writing is more skill to be honing it for comic craft. More important skill. Yeah, writing would probably be more helpful. I just don't do it. But I do reread the stuff I make just to make sure I'm like paying attention and trying to stay consistent. But I probably should write something down at some point. I think I tried to at one point, but I was just like, no. But I probably should get into a habit of doing that. More Sonic stuff I need is the real-time fan dubs. Oh yeah, that shit is fun. Like Darrow does really fun stuff. But yeah, like right now, Sega needs to figure out their shit with Rouge. Because it's like, okay, is she supposed to be sexy or not? Because you guys keep acting like she's not supposed to be sexy, or you're toning down her sexiness. But then you later bring it back. So what are we doing with the character? It's like, oh no, we can't show her back, it's too much. It's like, what the fuck do you mean? You were promoting the character not even that long ago, and now you're gonna censor her? And then, for the Shadow game, they made her a fucking Valley Girl who acted like she didn't give a fuck about Shadow caring about Maria, whom of all people would know that not to act like that towards Shadow. It's like, how do you have a character who's been with Shadow, or, you know, been around Shadow for that fucking long, knows his goddamn history, and then act like a total bitch when, hey, my best friend is about to fade away into time and get shot. I'm gonna be a total asshole and say whatever to him. It's like, who does that? Why would you even have that there? And like, I need to know if that was something that Ian Flynn wrote. I doubt it, because it makes no sense. And I'm pretty sure he wouldn't have done something like that, because that makes no sense. And he's like a super fucking hardcore Sonic lore guy. So to have her talk that way makes zero sense. So I wonder if that was just something somebody else threw in there. Because that whole scenario made no goddamn sense. Oh, E123 is great. Omega is a great character. He's just like, hey, I hate Dr. Robotnik. Okay, cool. What do you want to do? I want to shoot him. Oh, okay. What else do you want to do? I want to destroy everything he's ever made. Oh, okay, cool. That's it. That's his character. Nothing more. Hell, if anything, a fight between him and Metal Sonic makes sense. Just because, like, think about it. Metal Sonic is basically Robotnik's greatest creation at this point. I mean, he at least gets shit done when possible. Omega would love to destroy that fucker, which he technically got to in Heroes, or at least heavily crippled him. And in the comics, after the events with Neo Metal, Robotnik was like, okay, I gotta restrict his free will, or make sure he never gains free will ever again to avoid that situation. I do hope they do more with Metal, though, because it's kind of like, yeah, he's technically the evil Sonic, but it's like, you gotta do a little bit more with him. At least show that he's not completely useless, despite being restricted. But yeah, like, Sega needs to figure out their character situation. It's like, okay, are we making our characters sexy or not? Because if we're not doing it, then stop making sexy characters. You can imply sexiness, but when you have a character that's literally made for that situation, don't nerf the character for that. It's like, good lord. It's like if I made a character that breathes fire, but then I think breathing fire is a bad idea and make them not breathe fire anymore. It's like, what are you doing? I need to look at buildings. Get a feel for this. I can use this. It was already a location. Exactly. Like, Rouge has been extremely inconsistent as a character, and even design. Because, like, if you look at Sonic Adventure 1, she was dummy thick, and in the Dreamcast version, she had a lot of bounce physics for those titties. And then in the re-release for the GameCube, they lowered down the bounce physics, but she was still thick, but they lowered down the bounce physics on her chest. In Heroes, they completely changed her design, covered her up, made her like a fucking rail, like she was stick thin. Then in Sonic 06, they plumped her up a little bit back, but she was noticeably, thinner. But she still had her cleavage out, and you could see her back. So I was like, all right, cool. Yeah, she's not as thick as she used to, but okay, fun to see the character again. Then speed up a few years. Well, you got Sonic Riders, which gives her an awesome casual outfit. So that was like one of the peak designs for her. Then fast forward a few years, you have her voice being weird in Dream Team because it's like higher pitched, less mature for some fucking reason. And then fast forward to now, where not only do they censor her back, they basically make her cleavage non-existent, and they gave her a Valley Girl personality for some fucking reason. In X she was thick. In X she was, yeah, she had the cleavage and all that. She was pretty much the thick design still, thank God. Of course, in the 4Kids version, she was censored. because I think they removed her cleavage in the 4Kids version, so you have to watch the Japanese version. All the more reason to watch the Japanese stuff at the time. It's like, once I realized how much shit was being censored from Japanese anime, I basically just said, look, unless the show is uncensored and the dub is great, like has really good voice acting, I might as well just ignore the English version, because I don't want to be missing out on actual content. That's what pissed me off about Yu-Gi-Oh! Once I figured that out. I was like, oh my god, I am missing so much context. 4Kids found out about furries. Yeah, pretty much. Censorship talk, take a shot. I know. At this point, I should just make a bingo board, or you guys should just make a bingo card of the shit that I might rant about. But yeah, it's just I am heavily annoyed of censorship. Because, you know, growing up, at least for me, growing up in the 90s, where I'm exposed to pretty much everything that was awesome back then, and then only to see it get heavily watered down over time, because somehow the world became fucking pussies. It just annoys me. It's like, man, when I was growing up, we had guns, blood, and titties, and all this all the time, and it's like, oh my god, there's cleavage, we gotta censor it. Or like, you know, that's not a realistic body type for blah 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 blah. And I'm like, who the fuck cares? We're having fun here. None of this is real. Why are you pitting your entire existence on the shit that doesn't help anybody? It's just fun. That's all it is. Just have fun. You had like 3 Raws in his deck in the movie. Yeah, like, it was always weird whenever they changed, because they changed the cards because of the whole advertisement laws towards children for cartoons, which is stupid. It's like, ooh, kids can see the cards and they might want to buy the cards. Well, guess what? Kids don't have fucking money. Their parents do. So if their parents don't want them to have the cards, guess what? They're not going to get them. Problem solved. I do not understand why this is a thing. Like, I don't understand why things are treated as if kids have money. They don't. They do not have money. They do not have access to money. Nowadays, it's probably a problem in certain cases, especially if parents are stupid and give their kids a fucking credit card, which I don't understand why you would do that in the first place. But still, it's like, look, none of that makes sense. Why are we doing it? But yeah, changing the cards was fucking hilarious, because there would always be like random ass cards put into the characters' hands that they didn't own or shouldn't possess, or was, you know, edited weird or in a form that they shouldn't be having it as. Like, for example, you know, like Flame Swordsman, I think, was a normal monster in the anime, but in the dub version, it was a fusion, because that's how the real card was, and they were basing it off of that instead of the actual anime. Yeah, exactly. I think one of the funnier things was how the anime never explained that certain cards were available in different numbers. So like the Exodia battle where Yugi versus the Rare Hunter that has Exodia, it was never explained that they're in a particular format where 3 Exodia copies was legal. because that was a thing when Yu-Gi-Oh first came out as an actual card game. There was a format where 3 Exodias were legal, or a set of 3 were legal. But by the time the anime came out, we're already in the mindset where you can only have 1 copy of Exodia, but this fucker has 3. Explodia. But yeah, like I did a whole fucking. That was like my final for English class, was the censorship in media and how stupid it was. Got a fucking A. The funniest part of that, which I didn't even realize till years later, like probably like 5 years ago or something, that I realized this. No, it's probably longer than that. But like when I was talking about censorship, I was using my own artwork as an example and stuff like that, and I was using the example of Essence being penetrated with tentacles. That was the artwork I was using back then, along with other anime references and stuff like that. And it did not occur to me that I was basically showing porn to my entire class. It did not dawn on me because I was so passionate about the subject matter that I didn't even think about what I was showing. Until years later, I was like, huh, I just realized I just showed a bunch of porn to my class and got an A. Cool. It's like, what'd you do for your final? I talked about censorship and porn in cartoon media and got an A. Cool. Good. And I think I think the same day they asked one of my friends asked me to pass around, because I always carried all my art with me and shit. So people were looking at the comics, like, because back then I was just making comics physically by just folding pieces of paper together and just stapling it all. So I was making like 16-page short, small comics. I probably have them saved somewhere, or just probably like pictures of it somewhere. But yeah, they had that passed around the class, and they were asking me questions about like all the risque, edgy shit that I was drawing in the comics. I just drew everything. I mean, I still do. Like, nothing's changed. And then got an A for my efforts. So I was like, cool. Got an A drawing not only discussing censorship, but discussing porn. And then still got an A. But yeah, I guess just because, it wasn't a joke, I was serious, that I got an A for it. So cool. I mean, my teacher was great too. So I'm pretty sure she knew I was serious about it. I mean, all of my teachers did. They always saw me draw all the time. I remember one teacher tried to get me in trouble for that. She was like, he's in his class drawing all the time, blah 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 blah. And I was like, yeah, because 1, I was the student helper for that class, and 2, I was done with my work. There was nothing literally for me to do, so I was drawing. But of course, it was like a Spanish teacher trying to rat me out. And granted, her class was hard as hell. Like, it was Spanish 2, and she immediately expected every single person in the class to know full Spanish, even though we haven't done anything Spanish related in 3 months, because it was the new school year. So 3 months of nothing. We had zero reason to study Spanish, and she expected the entire class to speak fluent Spanish. And the only student who knew fluent Spanish, well, aside from actual Hispanic and Spanish speakers and all that, aside from them, the only other student was someone that I knew who knew how to speak fluent Spanish, because I think he was not only her helper in some classes, but he was also just like really proficient at that stuff. Like, he was hardcore studier, and so I got help from him. But shit, the amount of hoops I jumped through for that fucking class, and I went through so much bullshit for that teacher. Even like staying after school for like um, after school class or like an after school session or whatever. Spent all that fucking time. I was doing that for like over a week or so, or however long I had to do it for, and still only got like a C. And me, I was like, look, I don't care what I have to do to fucking pass this class. Just like I think what I did for her class was I got to drop it and just retake Spanish 1, which luckily was with a teacher that I knew, who I knew. So I retook it with her. Then when I had Spanish 2 again, I retook it with a different teacher, and I did fine in that class. Like that teacher was just fucking hell. Every Spanish teacher I had was ass. Very rarely. I mean, I got lucky. I had at least 2 out of the 3 Spanish teachers I've had were good. But the second Spanish teacher just that was just hell. I was like, how do you? Because she got pissed when she realized that none of the students, except for the ones who fluently speak Spanish, knew how to speak Spanish. I was like, isn't that the point of you teaching Spanish? To teach us Spanish, especially when we took a break from Spanish, meaning everything we learned was probably not retained because we don't speak Spanish. Yeah, I'm glad the other 2 Spanish teachers I had were super chill and just like understanding, and they knew how to teach, at least in the sense of like, you know, hey, I understand that these people don't speak Spanish normally. But yeah, the second teacher was the one that tried to get me in trouble. Yeah, exactly. It got to the point where it's just like all that matters is the results. Doesn't matter how you got there. Like even my college teacher was like, look, the whole point is that you're here for this little piece of paper that says that you graduated from the school. Everything else is literally extra. All he cares about is if you actually understood the material. I think there was like 1 or 2 tests where he literally just sat there and gave us the answers. Because he was just like, this is bullshit, here's the answers. But like, if it actually mattered, then he would actually test us on it. Yeah, he was a good teacher. And then like I've had teachers that worked on like various animations and stuff like that. Like I had one teacher who basically worked on everyone's childhood at this point, because he had been working on like Hanna-Barbera and other cartoons since they pretty much started. So like he worked on He-Man, he worked on X-Men, Scooby-Doo. Like I'll say name an old school cartoon, and he's most likely worked on it. And then I had a teacher who worked on Mulan. Excuse me. There's quite a few. I know somebody worked on CG movies. I'm trying to remember which one. I know one teacher I had worked on Kung Fu Panda. So there was that. And then a few of them worked on video games here and there. Mostly mobile stuff at the time. But they were like small projects back when like mobile wasn't that good. So yeah, my experiences are random. Gave us our final exam and told us to see their way through the test. Ha. And then my own experiences have been random. Like I had a job working on the first Smurfs movie, the one with Neil Patrick Harris. So there's that. I worked on Transformers 3, Dark of the Moon, and then later on I worked on Titanic 3D. So didn't plan for that to happen, but it just kind of happened. I'm gonna hate myself for this. How do I do this? You know what? Fuck that. I'm gonna. Page is that? Page 1. Two. You. And then I'll just add more shit to the window. Yeah, they. I mean, exactly. That's why you should always save your files, because you can just jump off of something you already did. It's like, I already drew that, why don't I just use it again? Work smarter, not harder. Just touch it up a bit. Yeah, I'm gonna stop as well in about 4 minutes. But some people call it reusing assets. I call it continuity. Yeah, exactly. But yeah. Thanks for coming, Alex. Take care. I'm gonna stop in a few minutes too. Have I listened to Epic the Musical? No, I have not. But it sounds epic. I'll have to look it up though after the stream. The musical of the Odyssey. Huh. Sounds good. Oh, thank you. Trying. I know I ranted a lot, but I hopefully got at least some decent amount of work done. I mean, I'm gonna keep working on this regardless, so it's not like I'm gonna stop. I'm just gonna stop streaming soon. Help me forget the call. Yeah, if you ever can, just invest in a small space heater. They're really useful. I have one right next to me. It's a little cheap thing. Oh, you do? Okay. That's good. Just try to warm up best you can, make sure things are closed off as best as you can, and there you go. A little chocolate on this. Bright side about this is I can just cut this out. And then do this. Oops, wrong layer. There we go. A little thicker than that. What does a 12 look like? Yeah, that's fine. Aha! Living in a shed. Yeah. You just have to try to have it more insulated, or, you know, cover up any cracks in doors and stuff like that to prevent the heat from getting out. Because heat is attracted to cold, so that's why it gets cold pretty quickly. Been trying, trust me. Okay. Yeah, just do what you can. Alright, gonna call the stream for now. Still gonna keep working on this. But yeah, here's Caitlin getting hungry and then having a little bit of a guilty pleasure, going like, okay, let's try not to fuck this up. And so she goes to the ice cream shop, and there's gonna be something fun in the bottom one. But yeah, you guys have a good day, or good evening, morning, whatever time zone you're in, and I will see you guys again tomorrow. All right, have a good day. Bye bye. Gonna have a fat ass. All right, you guys take care.